Welcome to the Queen's Mindset Hour, where all women are powerful and together unity is strength, and we choose to impact and empower.
Rules Not Broken season 7. Oh my goodness, we are having a grand time over here. I cannot believe that we are in season 7 already. It's amazing, and we've been having such a great time, a grand time. So I just want to welcome you wherever you are tuning in from. I want to welcome you tonight because we have another powerhouse in the building, and she's about to share her story with us. And I just can't wait for you to hear all that she has to share. And so if you're now coming in for the first time, I want you to go right ahead and just tell us where you're tuning in from. Go ahead, invite a friend on in. Go ahead, share this link with a friend. Share. Make sure they're in the room so that they can get the gems that are about to be dropped in this room. And so I know you're anticipating her. You can't wait to hear from her. And so I'm not going to keep you back any longer. I'm just going to go right ahead and invite her in the room. Welcome. How are you?
I am amazing. So grateful to be here.
Awesome. I'm very excited to have you. And so, Sherry, I know they're watching us right now. And the question is, what is her story? What does she have to share with us? But before we go there, I want you to go right ahead and just introduce yourself to them and let them tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Thank you so much. My name's Sherry Kennedy. I am a certified master life and spiritual coach, and I'm also an author. I am located in Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada, which is the far north. My journey itself has been filled with twists and turns, and it led me to a profound passion to empower others. And I'm just so grateful that I have the opportunity to share a little glimpse of it with you all today.
Beautiful. And so, of course, I know right now they're watching and they're ready for your story. But you just talked about being in Alberta, and I have to ask this question because I've heard it's super cold over there. How are you? How are you dealing with the weather with it being so cold around that time of year?
It's already like today, it was already -1 degree Celsius. It gets super cold here. So yeah, it's definitely a transition. I just think of warm weather. I dream of warm weather.
We're gonna have to have you in Barbados very soon.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, Sherry, you have a story, and we want to start from the beginning. I want you to tell us a little bit about where it all started for you.
I'll be honest, my journey, it is a true testament of resilience and self-discovery. I'm adopted. My birth mother was unable to take care of me. She was living on the streets at the time. Because of that, I actually was in and out of sick children's hospital up to the age of 6 because I had improper kidney development. So I was very ill at a very young age. I experienced a traumatic event at the age of 2. I was outside with 2 young boys who actually took a swing, and they wrapped the chain around my neck and hung me over the swing set. Thank goodness my mom saw me out of her corner of her eye and ran out and saved me just in time. You know, although I was only 2 years old, that event traumatized me. I had night terrors for years, and I would actually sleepwalk with my arms out, yelling, "Flying Sherry, Flying Sherry." I remember the dreams. It would be these 2 boys chasing me, and I would be running and flying away from them. At the age of 7, I was molested by a family member. When I disclosed this secret, it caused a huge family rift, as some people didn't believe. So it was very difficult and challenging at such a young age. My adoptive father, he was in the military, and he decided to retire from the regular force at the time. He wanted my sister and I to have a place to call home, and he retired in a small country town where both he and my adopted mother were raised. Unfortunately, in this small country town, I was an anomaly. I don't recall anyone at that time who was adopted, and I was severely bullied because of that. I remember one incident in particular vividly. It was grade 3, a bunch of school kids, they circled around me, and they told me that my birth mother threw me in a dumpster, and that's where my adoptive parents found me. They began to chase me and did just that, threw me back into the dumpster. I experienced a lot of bullying throughout my youth, which fast forward to the age of 16, I experienced an emotional crisis where I made an attempt on my life. Not even a month later, it was my prom night, I experienced a sexual assault. And shortly after that, I was involved in an attempted robbery. I'm going to be honest with you all. I spiraled out of control, and I turned to alcohol and drugs to cope and ease my pain. A few years later, I remember vividly looking back at the reflection in my mirror and asking myself, is this truly all that I'm capable of? Is this all that I have within? I had a deep calling deep within my core, and it told me that I had so much more. There's so much more within me. And I made a huge decision. I moved across the country on a maxed out credit card, a hope, a prayer, and a dream to build a career in the Canadian oil sands. I landed a job in a city south of Fort McMurray and started as a tool crib attendant. And I worked hard. I started apprenticeship welder and then moved into inventory controller, and they paid for me to go to school. I got my certification inventory and production management and basics of supply chain management. And eventually I landed my job, my dream job in the Canadian oil sands at the oil company that I had dreamed to work for. I thought, this is it. I finally achieved my goals. Fast forward, I experienced a profound moment of self-discovery. I was told that I had to have surgery, which would prevent me from ever having a child of my own. The emotional turmoil that flooded through me, the despair, it was the same emotions that I felt at the age of 16 when I had made the attempt on my life. However, this time I knew I had to go inward. I had to determine what the stem of this misery was so I could heal my pain. I went deep. I went all in on the deep inner work, not only to heal myself, but to find out who I truly was and fall in love with the person that I was. During that journey, it was difficult because I had to unearth some past experiences, the loss of my unborn son in 2013, and I had to reconcile an abortion I had when I was struggling with drugs and alcohol. But you know what? I did the work, and I finally unearthed my true self. I found out who I truly was. You see, most of my life, starting in my youth from bullying, I started to put on masks, these metaphorical masks. I would be whoever I had to be just so I could fit in, just so I wouldn't be bullied. I just wanted to impress and be with those people. It was so many layers that I had to peel back in order to find myself. I went all in. I invested in Tony Robbins. I took his Mastery University. I did his Leadership Mastery, his Launchpad Accelerator. I'm currently enrolled in his Mastermind Business Academy, and I also volunteer within his community. It has transformed my life. July of last year. July of last year is when I was informed that I was being laid off from my corporate job in oil and gas. I had been with this company for 12 years. You know what? I already started doing the work, and I knew this was my time to go all in on me. I moved forward and I published my first book, Ignite Your Light Within, Discover Your Inner Spark, and Radiate Your True Potential, in November of last year. This book is a guide to help people. I share pieces of my story, but not just my story. I provide the tools that help me heal so others who are lost like myself can do the same. It was honor to do that deep work, and I actually went all in. And early this year, I launched my coaching business, and I've gone all in on my personal development along with my education. So in addition to being a certified master life coach, a spiritual coach, I'm an energy healer, and I'm currently working on obtaining my hypnotherapy, because I'll do whatever it takes to help people find their true resilience so they can live a fulfilling life. You know, we all have our stories. We all experience adversity, but it's up to us to choose how we're going to face it. Most of us, we let it take us down. I know that's what I did most of my life. I let it take me down, and I was lost, and I'll never get lost again. And I want to help people who feel lost to find their true selves so they can live authentically in their true power.
Beautiful. You see, what I love about what you shared so far was just like what you said, the resilience. You know, having growing up in what you've been through, being molested, then you are being abused, you know, and having to be bullied as a child and going through those phases, but nothing stopped you. You just kept on pressing and going forward. You know, of course, you had your down moments, but you got up again. And that I love. I love those types of stories. We love to tell those stories here of women who are continuously overcoming. And I love that. That's very beautiful. And so you talked about being adopted, and because of the circumstances that your mom had found herself in. And how long were you adopted until she got back on her feet, or were you adopted right up until the age of an adult?
So my adoptive parents, they actually brought her in to their house at the end of her trimester to help her with that. And I stayed with my adoptive parents. I reconciled. I actually was in contact with my birth mother, reached out, I think it was the age of 30. And I had off and on contact since then, but I've never had face-to-face contact since I was a little girl. But she did come and visit when I was a very little girl. I just don't recall.
Okay. And so now that you are an adult, how is your relationship now with your mother?
Well, actually, she just passed away a couple weeks ago. So, you know, what I'm so grateful for is in my book, I actually share, because I wrote her a letter. It was an angry letter, I'll be honest. I wanted answers to questions. I wanted her to explain and tell me who my father was. I wanted to know more about her story. I wanted to understand. I felt so confused, and I wanted to know her side instead of me just making judgments. And it was wrong of me. I realized it was wrong of me. I realized I needed to forgive her and understand and meet her where she was at. We all do the best we can do with what we have and where we're at. And I had no right to judge her. I had no right to call her out. And I wrote her another letter, and I actually sent her a video before she passed to explain to her how grateful I am that she made that decision to give me to a loving couple who gave me the life that I deserved, and she knew that I deserved, that she couldn't do for me. I'm just so grateful that I had that realization and I was able to share that with her before she passed.
Wow, 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 wow. And was she also able to share with you some, I know you didn't get probably the responses or the answers that you were looking for at the time, but was she able to tell you her side of the story before she passed?
Unfortunately, she wasn't open to sharing, and that's okay. You know, that's okay. I am grateful that I was strong enough and she heard my side. And if she didn't want to share with me, I was okay with that. I accepted that. I don't expect anything from anyone because expectations, no one has a right to expectations. And I stand firm in my own, and I'm grateful that I did everything that I could. And I don't need those answers because I feel them deep within. And I am an amazing, strong woman because she did what she did. If she didn't do what she did, I wouldn't be sitting with you all here right now sharing this story, and I wouldn't be the resilient, strong woman. So I'm just grateful. I truly am grateful.
Wow, wow, wow. That's really amazing. And so you talked a bit just now about your book. But before we go into the segue of the book, you said that you wrote a letter. And this letter that you wrote, you said it was like an angry letter because obviously you were going through and you wanted to release. And as you wrote that letter, tell us about some of these things that you were able to release in that moment.
You know, I held a lot of deep resentment. I didn't even realize it until I started really writing that letter. I blocked her, I guess, for years. And when I made the decision to write her that letter, outpouring of resentment came out. Because I'll be honest, this book's called Ignite Your Light Within. When I first started writing it, I was going to call it Rejection Since Conception because I truly felt rejected from her. I felt rejected from the past events of my life. I felt rejected from everything. And I took that all out on her because I felt it stemmed from that very moment of conception. And thank the Lord that I went all in deep and understand what the truth is. And we need the good and the bad. We have to go through that duality. And I embrace those difficult moments because they cultivate and make you the strong, resilient woman. I keep saying resilient, but that's what I stand by because I've faced a lot of trauma. And many of us do, but so many are still stuck there. And I'm just through it, and I want to help others get through it as well.
Oh wow, wow, wow. I found that so brave. I love to hear the story of persons writing the letter. I believe in that because sometimes you may not get the opportunity to have the conversation that you would like to have. And like you said, in your case, your mom was not in that space. She was not ready to have that type of conversation. And it is I love the level of maturity that you had to recognize that it was okay for her not to want to have that conversation, and you're still able to release because the forgiveness is ready for you. It's ready for you, so you get your healing and you can move past and you can, you can grow, you can develop. So what are some of the things that you learned that you would love now to, encourage other women who may be dealing with a similar situation where they are, they've been through a lot in their lives and they have this level of unforgiveness because they're very angry at what had happened to them from such a young age? What would be your words of advice or encouragement to them?
Some of my words of advice and encouragement would be we have to stop looking externally. We have to go within. And not just within, we have to become the witness and see the story from both perspectives. We get stuck in ourselves, and more often than not, I understand it's easy to play the victim and feel the victim, and we are the victim, but we don't have to stay stuck there. There is so much beauty and blessings out of each and every single event that we experience, no matter how difficult it is. And I know I've experienced some traumatic events, and I played the victim. I lived in the victim role, and I took the downward spiral. I would turn to booze and alcohol. I turned to drugs. I turned to food. I was up to 230 pounds at one point after I lost my son, because that's how I felt comfort. And it's we have to look in and actually analyze those blockages so they can be released. We are keeping them within us and they're holding us back. So I just implore you to take the time to write down your story. Go through your story like a fine-tooth comb and find the blessings. I guarantee you there is a blessing in every single story that you have. I guarantee, and keep your focus on those blessings. And as you said, when we give forgiveness, forgiveness is not forgiving them necessarily. Forgiveness is for both of you. To not forgive is like giving your enemy poison, giving yourself poison and expecting your enemy to die. You know, you are the one suffering. They're not suffering because you haven't forgiven. You are. You need to release that so you can live authentic and true as you were meant to.
That's it. That's it. I absolutely love that. Yep. It's giving yourself poison and expecting the other person to die. I love that. So powerful. And you said something there as you were sharing. You mentioned the loss of your son. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So actually, my adoptive mother, she became very ill. I was notified. We were on the way to the hospital. I had O negative blood, so we had to get special infusions, special needles, so I wouldn't lose my son. So it was a difficult pregnancy. We were at 21 weeks, and I received a call from my father that my mother was in the hospital. She had a brain aneurysm, and they weren't sure if she was going to make it. And I remember I was on the side of the highway, and I was crying. I haven't been that emotionally upset, I don't recall ever. I couldn't imagine losing my mother, especially being so far away, because I was now on the opposite side of the country, and I started bleeding. So my husband rushed me to the hospital, and we were like, where we're at, Fort McMurray is far north, so we were about 2.5 hour, 3 hour drive in order to get to the city. And I ended up losing my son shortly after that. It was challenging, and I'll be honest, my husband and I ended up having to fly home the next day, and thank the Lord, my mother survived. My mother survived that brain aneurysm, and she was in her mid-40s at the time. Actually, no, maybe 50s. And when that happened, there was a 22-year-old girl right beside her who had a brain aneurysm, and she didn't make it. So the miracle that my mother made it just let me know that everything happens for a reason. And I was so grateful to just have her pull through. But I was away for a while, and when I came home, my husband and I, we never talked about it. Actually, it was almost 3 years before I finally broke down. I remember laying in bed and asking him, "Are you not sad?" Because I'm sad, and I just bawled, and he bawled as well, because we were both sad, but we didn't get to really grieve and work through it. And that moment allowed us to just release and heal. It was a difficult time. It was a difficult time for us both, but not facing it made it even more difficult. And as I said, I was up to 230 pounds. I turned to food for comfort, for solace, and just didn't work things out properly. And having that release with my husband, going all in on my health after that, after I spoke to him, I changed my whole perspective on how I was living, because I had that blockage deep within me, and I was finally able to release it.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. So we have a few things here to unpack that you said, because okay, you talked about grieving, and we know that everyone, they grieve differently, and it's important that we allow persons to go through the process of their grieving because that's how it's affecting them. But what you said just now was both you and your husband you both were grieving in your own way, but it was almost like you were grieving in silence because you didn't want to kind of like affect the other one. And so it's like, I'm trying to pull myself back because I need to be strong for you. You're thinking you want to be strong for him. And so what are some of the things that you learned from that process? Because you said it took 3 years before you were able to get that release that you wanted.
I think it's to be open and honest. We're always open and honest about everything else, but we were trying to protect each other from our pain. We didn't want each other to see our pain. We were scared that if we showed each other that we really were sad, that maybe the other person isn't as sad, or we were going to open that wound. They're already healed and reopen that wound. And we didn't want to do that. And we were both thinking the same thing. It's to be honest. It's to be open from the very beginning. If looking back now that I know what I know, it was obvious that we weren't healed. It was obvious that we needed to talk about it. It was obvious now, but hindsight's 2020. So when you experience something, especially with someone else that you need to grieve and work through, open up and talk about it right from the go. Work through it together and heal together. You may grieve differently, but having those open conversations and not grieving and trying to heal on your own, because you're just going to extend that period. Who knows how long? Who knows how long?
And who did you have as your support team when you were going through that? Did you have someone that you could confide in?
I confided in God. I confided that I've experienced so much in my life, and a lot I just kept quiet and didn't share with most people. I confided with God. He was my solace. I could be open and honest with him, and it just allowed me to heal and know that everything would be okay, because I experienced so much before and he helped me through it. And I knew that he'd help me through no matter what I faced.
Wow, wow, wow. And did you went through the process where you kind of blamed someone for what you encountered with the loss of your son? Because you mentioned that at the time when you were going through that, your mom was actually sick. Did you blame that sickness happening that kind of distracted you and caused you to, or did you blame yourself? Who did you blame? Or did you even blame anyone?
Oh, I blame me. I blame all me, especially, I was already having a difficult pregnancy because I had O negative blood. It was already challenging. I blame my body. I was angry at myself for not being able to stay emotionally sound. When I heard about my mother, I blamed the events. I just couldn't understand. I wanted to find the reason why this happened. And when I summarized and looked through it with a fine-tooth comb, the way my mindset was, the only answer I could come up with was me. I was not enough. I was not enough, and it was my fault that he did not join us here on this earth.
And what were some of the things that you did to be able to, because you said, you started using food as comfort, that was like your safe space as you dealt with your grieving. What were some of the things that you had to put in place to be able now to be a healthier you for where you were going?
First off was the mindset. First off was realizing the garbage that I was putting in my head. The way we talk to ourselves, we would never talk to anyone else. I was destroying myself, and I realized that I had to get clarity and start filling myself with that self-love. You can only give what you have. And I wasn't giving love to myself, so I couldn't give love to anyone. So I had to go deep, and that was the first thing, was to clear up that mindset, clear up that garbage. And the next thing was to love my body and nourish it. And I didn't love my body. I didn't love my reflection. I didn't even know what it was. And falling in love with myself, nourishing my body, my heart, my mind, my soul, it allowed me to do it naturally, and it just flowed. Once you love yourself and you nurture this being that you are, it just comes naturally. It truly does.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love that. And love who you are, embrace who you are. That's very important. And so to that woman right now who may be tuning in right now, or maybe you might catch the replay of this, I want you to I want you to remember that you are loved, to remember that you are worthy, to remember that you deserve to embrace who you are. It's important that you embrace who you are, embrace every moment of where you are at every level. Even if you don't feel as though you're at your best right now, trust and believe you're way better than you were before. And so embrace that. And so, Sherry, as we continue, we're coming close to the end, but there's still a few more things that I have to ask. Tell us a little bit more now about your book, and talk about that. And I know you mentioned it earlier, but let's dive in a bit more and let's talk a little bit more about your book and how that came about.
Yeah, so my book, Ignite Your Light Within, Discover Your Inner Spark, and Radiate Your True Potential. I'll be honest, when I started writing this, I wrote this to heal me. I wrote this to go through my experiences with that fine-tooth comb to see it as the witness and heal from the inside out. And once I was done writing this, I remember saying, I know this can help someone. I know this can help even one person. And when I made the decision, I was going back and forth on whether I should publish it, because I talk about a lot of deep stuff. I hid a lot of stuff. I didn't speak about this stuff. I was embarrassed, but I knew there's someone out there. There's someone out there that's struggling and that is stuck like I was. And I don't want them. I don't want them to feel alone like I did. You're not alone. You're not alone. And you truly have the power within. All you need is within you now. And I mean that in every bit. We are so blessed to have this incredible life. But life itself, it doesn't come with an instruction manual. And we take deep dives, twists, turns, and we go in the wrong direction, it appears at sometimes. However, each of those directions, each of those roadblocks, each of those perceived mistakes, that's what makes you the amazing person that you are. If you didn't have those experiences, you wouldn't be able to grow. You wouldn't be able to learn. You wouldn't be able to understand other people who have gone through that. The resiliency that you build, the courage that you build. And because of that, I wanted to provide the tools that I utilize to help myself heal. And I published this book so people can relate. They can read as they read through. There's so many different stories that they can check in and relate to based on their own journey. And then they have the tools there to help them work through it so they're not stuck like I was. So it was difficult. I didn't want to share it. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. But then I realized God wanted me to share. There's a reason that I had to share. And I just know if it can help one person, I had to share. And that's why I published this book.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so let's tell them those who are watching right now, where they can get a copy of your book. For those persons who are watching and they may be like, oh, I wanna know more about this book because I connect so much with her story. It reminds me of where I'm at and what I've been through. So tell us where we can get a copy of that.
Yeah, we can get this book. It is located on Amazon. If you go to my website, we have it here, igniteyourlightwithin.com. You can find a link to get a copy. And also, what I've included for your viewers, I included a free chapter 3 of this book. So they can actually, and I believe that is the chapter. Yeah, it's the beginning. So that's the one with the letters with my birth mother. And it's all focused on forgiveness. I think forgiveness is so key. So I highly recommend download that free chapter so you can get a glimpse of what this book is and the amazing tools that you can utilize to help yourself heal.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, guys, it's right in the chat. If you're tuning in with us right now, we just posted it right there in the chat. You can see the link there. Just click the link and make sure that you're able to go download that chapter 3. Trust and believe. I am certain you're going to get some really great gems from this and you're going to be able to apply. And so you want to go right ahead. For those of you who may be watching us after, here's the link on the screen for you so that you can pull this link off. Make sure you grab it, download a copy of the ebook. If you have to pause it so that you can get the link and go right ahead and download it. And for those persons you're listening right now, you're like, oh, I really want to reach out to her. I want to connect with Sherry. There's something about her. You can go right ahead and send her an email. And we're going to pull that up on the screen shortly. You'll see that coming on the screen. So go ahead and send her an email. Just send her an email. Let her know you're interested in working with her, collaborating, whatever it may be. Maybe you have a question. Go right ahead. Send that email to her and she will definitely respond. And so, Sherry, we're coming close to an end, and it continues to go on. So, for every woman who comes on this platform and they're watching, the question always is like, where did you find the strength? Where did you find that level of resilience? Because I know we talk a lot about being resilient, but where do you find that strength to continue going, even when life is just, lifing, it's really fighting you? Where do you find the strength?
I found the strength by going within. I found the strength by being silent and asking myself deep questions and responding. I get answers to those deep questions, journaling it out and trying to figure out, because when you're just in that surface ego mind, you're not getting those truths. You're not getting, it's an imposter. You need to get to your true authentic self, your soul self. So I would journal and I would ask myself deep questions. One of the topics that I utilize is the 7 layers deep, the 7 whys. So I would ask a question and then why? And then I would go deep again. Okay, I had that answer. Why? And I would keep going deep on those answers until I got to my 7th why. And when you get to that why, I'm telling you, it's going to make you cry. It's going to give you the truth on the real answer on what you're looking. You're just getting surface answers at the beginning. So go deep. Ask yourself the 7 whys and uncover the true reason why you're feeling what you're feeling at the time, the answers that you're truly seeking. Don't answer based on those surface responses.
I love that. I've never heard of that terminology. What are the 7 ways?
Well, the 7 ways, it's the 7 whys. So when I start, whatever my question is, I share this in my book as well, is, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling right now? Okay, I'm feeling this way because, and then why, based on that answer, why do you feel that way? Because, and then why is that? So then I go another layer deep. Okay, I feel this way because this happened. Okay, well, that happened. Why do I feel that way? Because that happened. Okay, this is why that happened. Okay, well, why do you feel that way? Because that happened. And then I keep questioning, but you go 7 layers deep on the whys, because your first why, your second why, your third why, it's not giving you the true core reason. These are just surface answers. As you go each layer, why, you're going deep, you're going to the core. And I'm telling you, some of the answers, I'm like, where did that even come from? But it's hidden deep within, and you're going to your soul self. You're getting the true answers when you go that deep by asking yourself why 7 times.
I love that. I love that. Listen, if you guys have not downloaded that ebook as yet, go right ahead right now in the chat. The link is there. Click that link, download chapter 3, and go right to Amazon and purchase a copy. And make sure that you get the information. This is good. This is good. This 7 ways. I love this. I love this, Sherry. And so I have to ask another question. In light of everything that you've shared here tonight of what you've been through, because this is just, I know, just a little bit of everything that you've been able to overcome. Is there anything that you would have done differently?
No. You know, I always thought there would be. Like, I always reflected back, oh, I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't do this. I would, no, if I hadn't have done that. No. If one little thing was different, I wouldn't be here right now. If one little thing was shifted in any way, I would not be this strong, amazing woman that I am here today. Yes, it was difficult, but that's life. Life is duality, and you don't know how good you have it until you know how bad you can have it. So no, there's not one thing I would change. I am so grateful for the woman that I am here today.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so, as we're getting ready to head out, I want you to go ahead and just I want you to talk to that lady, that woman who's watching us here today, and she's thinking to herself, Sherry, I admire you for your level of resilience, but based on where I'm at right now, I can't see myself overcoming. I want you to go ahead and just encourage her, empower her to overcome.
Yeah, I've been there. I was so lost that I made the attempt on my life. I made a promise that I would never do that again. You see, life is what we make of it. It's where we put our focus, it's where we put our perspective. And if you keep your focus on the loss, if you keep your focus on what you don't have, what is lacking, that is what you're going to continue to experience. I know, even in the darkest moments, there's always a spark within you that's waiting to be ignited. But you need to put your focus on those areas that can light that flame. If you are focusing on, as I said, the lack, what's not working, what's going wrong, then you're going to keep experiencing that. You need to shift your focus to the blessings. I got up, I can breathe today. I am healthy, whole, and complete. There are people, their only wish and hope and dream is to be able to get out of bed, to be healthy. I am so grateful that I have the amazing support system, my family, the friends. There's so much that we are blessed with that we take for granted. Pause, reflect, and look around. Count your blessings. Stay focused on the blessings and what you can be grateful for, because if you're keep your focus on what you don't have, then that's what you're going to constantly live in. That's where you're going to be lost all the time. Count your blessings, be grateful. We take advantage of so much we have in our life, but those things, if you didn't have them, you would be spiraling out of control, and where you're at now doesn't even compare.
That's good. That's very good. I love that. I love that. And so just before we go, if I haven't, is there any question? Maybe I didn't get an opportunity to ask that question. But it's really laying heavy on your heart and you're like, oh, I should have said this. I really want to tell them about this. I want you to go right ahead and I have those moments to share with them as well.
Anything that's really heavy, or I feel like I've been really open with you guys. I feel like I've shared a lot. I get told, my mom always said, Sherry, you wear your heart on your sleeve. That's why you always come back with it broken. I am authentic. I am open. And I can finally say, I don't care what other people judge me or what they think of me anymore. And to be able to stand in my own authentic power is so freeing, because I was trapped in wanting approval from others my whole entire life. I just would say is that I want you to fall in love with yourself. I'm telling you, self-love is the best love. And until I cultivated that, I was lost. So if you hear anything from this talk, please fall in love with yourself. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It matters what you think.
Okay, awesome. And so tell us, what's next for you? What are you working on? What do you have coming up next for those persons who are tuning in here tonight and they're like, oh, I wanna be involved in whatever she has going on. Tell us about what's next for you.
Yes, well, I'm working on a program. I actually have a couple programs available. I'm also working as a one-on-one coach, and I'm working on an actual group coaching option as well to see what works best for people. I really love that one-on-one atmosphere because people can open up and share and feel comfortable. But I find that group atmosphere is we can really grow. We have that experience to work off each other, and I find we're more open that way when we have people who are going through the same things, or maybe it's different, but we're experiencing the same type of emotions, and you really open up and cultivate and grow even faster, I'm finding.
Good. This is good. This is good. So tell them where they can follow you on social media. Tell them what's your social media handle so that they can reach out to you, those who want to connect with you.
Yeah, if you go to Facebook, I'm at Sherry Kennedy at Facebook. Also, I'm at Sherry Kennedy 3513 on Instagram. And you can, if you go to my website, everything's located on there, all my handles. So igniteyourlightwithin.com. All my information's there, my social, my emails. Go there, you can find it. I also have some ebooks on there for you to check out as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so tell us one last time. So we have Facebook is Sherry Kennedy, and then give us the one for Instagram for those persons who are trying to grab that information. Give us that social media handle again.
Sherry Kennedy 3513.
3513. Okay, so guys, it's right on the screen. If you're looking for her Facebook handle is Sherry Kennedy 3513, or if you want to follow her on Facebook, it's going to be Sherry Kennedy on Facebook. If you want to send her an email, we're going to pull that on the screen for you shortly, and that's going to be her email. It's actually info@igniteyourlightwithin.com, and you can send her an email right there. Sherry, it has definitely been a pleasure. I have definitely enjoyed sharing with you here tonight. Thank you so much for wearing your heart on your sleeves, and just being here with us, sharing openly, because I'm sure that someone who is tuning in right now, they're being blessed, they've been encouraged, and they're also been inspired and empowered. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I've been blessed as well. Have an amazing night.
Yes, you are most welcome. And so, ladies and everyone else who is tuning in right now, we want to say thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for being here on The Battered Bruised Not Broken. This is season 7. We are having a phenomenal season. We have powerful women who are sharing their stories with us. And I can't wait for you to hear the next woman's story. It's going to continue to be powerful and powerful. And so tune in with us every Wednesday at 30 p.m. and that's Atlantic Standard Time right here online. Make sure you're tuning in and bring a friend. Share this link with a friend. Share with another friend, and make sure you're sharing so that they too can be encouraged. We're going to see you right back here next week, Wednesday, for another powerhouse with another powerful story. And so whatever you do today, make sure you're safe and you are also enjoying and having fun. We'll talk to you very soon. Goodbye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Queen's Mindset Hour. I'm your girl, Kimisha from Queen's Mindset, where all women are powerful. Together, unity is strength, and we choose to impact and empower.